In the 1930s, amphibious tanks, as a branch of armored weapons, did not develop as vigorously as conventional tanks, but they did attract the attention of several countries. Several countries successively invested in research and development in this area, and France once developed an amphibious tank named DP-2. France initially had no interest in amphibious tanks, perhaps due to the country's armored thinking. However, with the increasing spread of information about amphibious tanks, the French military wavered. They launched a research and development plan for amphibious tanks in the early 1930s, and the project was contracted to the Batignolles-Châtillon Company, resulting in the development of the DP-2 amphibious tank. The prototype of the DP-2 was completed in 1935. Part of the structure was made of wood. Due to the lack of relevant design experience and the absence of reference to the experience of other finished products during the development period, many designs were experimental. The designers studied shipbuilding, wanting to apply some of the ship's structures to the tank chassis. They believed that this would increase the tank's performance on water. The result of this approach was a tank chassis with a conical-shaped bow, and the lower part of the vehicle body was narrow. The upper part extended outwards with buoyancy tanks. In comparison to the size of the tank itself, the tank had a deep draft. The power compartment of the tank was located at the rear of the chassis, and adjacent to it was the gearbox. A 225 horsepower 12-cylinder engine provided power. The track-type terrestrial walking structure was relatively low, with 8 pairs of small-diameter spring-suspended road wheels, arranged in pairs. When traveling on water, the tank was not propelled by a propeller, but used its tracks to move through the water. In terms of armor protection, the tank was covered with armor plates ranging from a few millimeters to a maximum of 15 millimeters, installed by riveting. This level of defense was considered average among amphibious tanks at the time, with the ability to withstand only light weapons attacks. In contrast, the DP-2 had considerably stronger firepower. While most amphibious tanks at the time were equipped with machine guns, the tank was initially equipped with an SA-18 37mm gun and a 7.5mm coaxial machine gun installed in a multifaceted single-person turret. The main gun was later replaced by a French 25mm anti-tank gun, possibly due to the French Army designating the 25mm gun as the standard anti-tank gun in the mid-1930s. Nevertheless, the firepower of the DP-2 was still considerable. At the same time, the German Panzer II tank was only equipped with a 20mm machine gun. If the DP-2 encountered it on the battlefield, it would not be completely defenseless. The tank driver was located at the front of the vehicle body, with a slightly protruding armored box to protect the head. The single-person turret was located behind the driver's seat. The tank commander also served as the gunner and loader. Both the driver's armored box and the turret had gaps around them for external observation. In 1936, the prototype was completely converted to a metal structure, and details such as the engine air intake were optimized. The modified tank's weight increased from the original 11.5 tons to 12 tons. The maximum road speed during testing reached 40.5 kilometers per hour, and the water speed was 6.5 kilometers per hour, which was considered quite good. However, more serious problems were discovered during the tests. As an amphibious tank, the DP-2's swimming capability was not very good, as its riveted armor had poor sealing. After each water test, the interior of the tank was filled with water. Finally, water penetrated the tank during a test, causing a serious accident by flooding the engine. In addition to this, the tank had other problems, such as the unreasonable track structure, which meant the tank could only disembark from the water onto hard ground. Otherwise, it would become stuck in the mud. Although the company carried out rescue, repair, and improvement of the prototype after the accident, France still decided to stop related research in 1937. The company later attempted to design amphibious tanks again, but the outbreak of World War II interrupted the development process.